Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy David Martos, estamos en el set de Kinótico en el Festival de San Sebastián 2024. Es un espacio posible gracias al apoyo de ICEX España, Exportación e Inversiones, y financiado por la Unión Europea, Next Generation, Plan de Recuperación, Gobierno de España. Nos acompañan tres invitados que son esenciales para la presencia de la industria nacional e internacional en este festival. Primero voy a presentar a Leon Forde, es el Managing Director de Olsberg SPI. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. También nos acompaña Juan Manuel Guimerans, que es el Secretario General de la Spain Film Commission. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Hola.
¿Cómo estás? Y Fernando Victoria de Lecea, que es productor y presidente de Profilm. Hola, Fernando.
Buenas tardes. Muchas
Encantado de recibirte. Vamos a hacer la entrevista principalmente en inglés por Leon Forde, así que I'll turn to English. My first question, Leo, is for you. This study, this report, we just knew minutes ago, was commissioned by the Spain Film Commission last year. And my first question is, how would you define the results of the report? I mean, what's the main data, the main topic that comes out from the report?
Thank you. Yes, and as you say, we've just launched this study here in San Sebastián, and it's been. We actually launched the inception of the study here last year, so it's been a full year of work,
Investigation, yeah.
Investigation, and really what we were asked to do by the Spain Film Commission and by Profilm was to take a first look at the incentive for international projects in Spain. So the incentive has been in operation since 2015, and this is the first study of its kind to really unpack what that incentive is delivering for the Spanish economy and also consider the other strategic impacts of the incentive. So in terms of, there's a lot of data in this study, but in terms of sort of headline findings, we looked at the years 2019 to 2022. We gathered data on 165 productions or international productions that had used the incentive, and we found that about 1.3 billion euros of spend had come from those 165 productions, and that resulted in about 1.8 billion euros of gross value added for the Spanish economy. So, to be very brief about it, that's a very strong result in financial terms for Spain. And we also looked at return on investment, and for every euro that the Spanish government is spending on the international incentive, it's getting about 9 back once we consider the direct, indirect and induced phases of impact.
That's a huge outcome. I mean, every investment would like to have that outcome.
Yes, yeah, it's a very impactful sector globally, and we're seeing in recent years a lot of governments, not just the Spanish government through its audiovisual hub, but we've seen a lot of other governments look to the screen sector and to the creative industries as economic engines. They're future-facing industries. There's a lot of investment that has been flowing to those industries, so they're very impactful.
Juan Manuel, why would you say that it was essential? It was really, really important for you to know the data, to know the numbers.
Well, thank you very much to Kinótico and ICEX for this initiative. Well, it is essential because we need to prove the value of what we are doing, not only Spain Film Commission, of course, but all the sector. This study is not only important for what Leon has said, for the general outcome, but also because that general outcome is distributed all along the economy. So this is not an isolated sector, which is one of the criticisms that normally audiovisual gets.
Yeah.
That is an isolated sector, but the study says that between 50% and 70%, depending on the production of the total impact of the investment, goes to other sectors in the economy. And secondly, because from a territorial point of view, it's a sector that is very much diversified. This country, Spain, sometimes lacks of diversification, and some sectors are very much focused in one part of the country or another. It doesn't happen that in audiovisual. Of course, there are main hubs in Catalonia, in Madrid, in Canary Islands, in Andalusia, the most populated places or the places where better incentives.
Yeah.
But you are going to find in the report effects all over the country, even in very small parts of the country.
What's your take on the report, Fernando? What do you think about the results? ¿Qué piensas de los resultados del informe?
Bueno, los resultados creo que queda muy claro que son magníficos. Nosotros ya lo sabíamos, o sea, lo intuíamos. Simplemente por, como he dicho antes, no somos magos, sino simplemente que ves el entorno europeo y los países europeos que tienen incentivo fiscal a la producción audiovisual, los resultados son bastante similares, ¿no? Entonces nuestra inquietud era poder tener esos datos y demostrar a las autoridades españolas de que esto era rentable, ¿no? Y como decía también un poco Juanma, es decir, el retorno no es únicamente al sector audiovisual, sino mucho más sectores, ¿no? Es decir, cuando Pedro Almodóvar comentó lo del 1 euro, 5 euros, era totalmente cierto, pero con un pequeño matiz. Es decir, las ayudas del ICA no se recuperan de la taquilla del cine español o el cine internacional en el ICA, se recupera de toda la economía del conjunto del Estado, que gracias a una película nacional o internacional repercute en esa economía.
So we could say that these results are, would you say, a powerful weapon to sit down with politicians every way and say, look, tax rebates, they work, tax incentives, they work, the audiovisual sector is really profitable for Spain? Would you say that?
Yeah, I definitely would. And what I would also say is one of the things we looked at in the study is the ability of the international incentive to get projects into Spain that might have gone somewhere else. So, as you'll be aware, this is a very competitive marketplace. There are 116 incentives globally at the moment, and what we found through our research is that a lot of the projects that had used the Spanish incentive might have been taken to a competitor jurisdiction like the UK or somewhere else had that incentive not been in place. So I think it's very strong evidence for government that not only shows that it's profitable, but also that it is a really key way of getting business into Spain. So I think those are the key things to underline to government.
And there are many implications from this result, because you represent many commissions all over Spain, and I'm very sure they're going to use this data to talk to their local authorities, to their investors. I mean, was the sector itself who was demanding this report?
I think so. This is, as you've said, not an initiative by the public sector represented by Spain Film Commission alone, but it's a joint project with Profilm, which is the private part of it. The need of the report was obvious. Now, we are not only happy for having the idea and making it, but we are very happy because, as you say, we have a weapon. But that weapon is not only for politicians; it's for the society itself.
To know,
this sends also a message to the private sector that now has the information that there is a very profitable sector to invest in. One of the problems, the needs the audiovisual sector in Spain has is financing. Sometimes it's too much depending on public financing. And everybody knows that public financing has certain restraints. It's not easy to get. And this report also sends the message to the private investors that this is a place that it's profitable to be.
We're speaking about the past. I mean, this 4 years period from 2018 to 2022. So what about the present and the future? What would you say about what we need now, what we need to arrange now in order to have a healthier sector in the future? ¿Qué retos hay por delante?
Bueno, yo creo que el hub audiovisual ha demostrado una voluntad por parte del gobierno de apoyar el sector audiovisual. Yo personalmente sigo pensando que todavía el sector audiovisual no es un sector estratégico, está en vías de convertirse en un sector estratégico. Para mí me parece fundamental este estudio. Yo no utilizaría la palabra arma, me parece un poco grande, yo diría más herramienta. Instead of weapon, tool. A tool, no a weapon. Pero lo que hace falta ahora es trasladarlo a hechos estos, ¿no? Es decir, que el incentivo fiscal existe, la voluntad del gobierno de apoyar el sector audiovisual existe, los datos son muy buenos, pongamos las herramientas y las metas, es decir, hace falta una política audiovisual que lleve todo esto a buen término, saber hasta dónde queremos llegar y poner los medios para que esa política se pueda ejercer.
Do you agree, Juan Manuel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have a lack of policy to promote audiovisual. There are a lot of institutions in our country working. Our case is a very good example. Spain Film Commission has 46 partners all over Spain. There are lots of autonomous communities, local authorities, the state. You've mentioned ICEX, there is ICA, there is the Secretary of State of Telecommunications. There are a lot of tools. Probably we need more coordination, more cooperation, more joint projects. But the resources are there. When Fernando says it's audiovisual is not yet a strategic sector, I think it is a strategic sector, but it needs a more strategic vision. A more strategic vision from the public side and from the private side. And this report, I hope, is going to help in that direction.
Bueno, Juanma desde el lado público y yo del lado privado.
He said public side, the private side. And the data side, what does it say? Is it a strategic sector in Spain?
Yeah, and I think just picking up on what my colleagues were saying, I think what's very clear about the Spanish industry is it has a fantastic foundation for even more growth. I mean, Spain, you know, there have been films of extremely high quality being made in Spain for decades, and the creative talent here is known around the world. You know, it's a very developed industry, so it's definitely primed for further growth for sure. And I think there's, you know, you talk about the present and the future. I mean, we're seeing some retrenchment in the international industry, and I think Spain just needs to be mindful of the competition that's out there and the need to remain competitive, and also the need to use the foundations that it has to build for the future, because there's some you know, there's a fantastic, you know, world-class sector here for sure.
That's a key concept, competition between territories and countries, and that's key. So thanks so much. Thank you for giving us this data. They are very useful for all of us, for journalists too. We have to know what's happening in order to talk about it. So Leon Forde from Olsberg SPI, thank you very much. Thank you. Juan Manuel Guimerans, el Secretario General de Spain Film Commission, gracias.
Ahora lo que tenéis que hacer es estudiarlo mucho,
Los estudiaremos.
Ver bien qué cosas os llaman la atención y preguntarnos, que seguramente nos vais a ayudar a mejorar, porque este es el primer estudio, lo ha dicho Fernando en la presentación, y aspiramos a que no sea el último.
Well, that's very important to keep on getting data year after year. Y bueno, Fernando, al final, aunque sea con esta mini rivalidad entre el público y el privado, que sé que hay una colaboración, yo creo que los datos son muy importantes para avanzar.
Por supuesto. No. O sea, yo lo que he dicho antes al finalizar la jornada es que yo estoy esperanzado, gracias a estos datos soy muy esperanzado de que esto vaya en buen camino. Insisto que hace falta poner el resto de herramientas. El estudio es una herramienta, hace falta poner el resto de herramientas.
Pues Fernando Victoria de Lecea, también muchas gracias por estar aquí.
De nada, vosotros.
Thank you very much. Ha sido una entrevista, la última de la jornada de Kinótico, primera con K y segunda con C. Hasta mañana.